President Donald Trump wasn't lying about cracking down on student visas. Hundreds have had theirs revoked, including 2 in Idaho.
I think it's very clear that this bill discriminates against one city and one district.
The flag ban passed this session did have a pretty narrow focus. Despite that attention, Boise is still flying its pride flag, and it appears they intend to. If at first you don't succeed, well, try again. Middleton is about to be too big for its britches, and their failed bonds are putting the squeeze on their classroom count. Maybe this time they can get it done. Well, there's fear and uncertainty on college campuses across the country. Hundreds of students here on visa programs have had their credentials revoked, leaving them as, well, students without status. Some don't even know why their visas were taken away. It's no surprise the Trump administration has been vocal about their aggressive immigration enforcement, specifically targeting outspoken students who have participated in protests. Secretary of State Marco Rubio touts an AI-powered catch and revoke program, canceling visas of students who they say support terrorist groups, kind of like what would happen with the Palestinian protests. Each case is unique for sure, but Joe Paris has confirmed even students in Idaho are not immune.
A campus spokesperson confirms that at the University of Idaho, 2 students have had their visas revoked, as hundreds of other students across the country are now dealing with the same reality. There's no official word about the country of origin of those Idaho students or why their visas are now canceled. Uncertainty is the daily mood for international students.
It is something that maybe wasn't a problem a few years ago or even a few months ago, but now it's becoming a problem.
J.J. Despain is an expert on the topic as an immigration attorney with Wilner and O'Reilly. Offices like his are very, very busy these days.
What we're hearing about is people who maybe had issues in the past, that like overstaying a visa or maybe some criminal history, and they've been fine until now. So now they're becoming more of a priority, more of an enforcement priority.
International students losing their visas is not new. It happens for a variety of reasons. The enforcement is certainly more aggressive, though, leaving more and more students in limbo.
At the moment, they're here without status, and doesn't mean they have to go back to their countries, doesn't mean they have to get a new visa, and just some questions that they need to figure out. So it doesn't necessarily mean someone has to pack their bags and leave, but they should find out what their options are. And maybe that is the best option to leave, but hopefully if someone wants to stay, they can find a way to do that.
There are a long list of conditions for all students on visas to maintain their status, as simple as remaining a full-time student to intricacies about doing part-time work.
So there are, relatively minor things that a student could do all the way up to, criminal charges that could be grounds for, a fair, revocation.
Right, yeah. So, and that happens, unfortunately, where a lot of people maybe got away with something without even knowing they were breaking the rules, and it doesn't come back to bite them until it's an urgent situation.
There is specific focus from the Trump administration on international students who have spoken out during campus protests. Yes, the First Amendment does exist, but Despain explains that student visas are a privilege granted, a privilege that can easily be taken away.
I hesitate to tell people to not express themselves and their opinions, but I think you just want to be careful that it can't be seen as some sort of threat to national security. And I guess the biggest thing to be aware of is maybe you were left alone for the past few months or years. Now with new administration, new policies, new priorities, maybe what you're saying hasn't changed, but it's being seen differently.
And again, just to repeat, the University of Idaho confirms that they've had 2 students that have had their visas revoked, and I reached out to the major universities across Idaho. Boise State tells me this afternoon that they have no record of any of their students having their visas revoked. Idaho State University is looking into the matter. It appeared on preliminary information that they too did not have any students with their visas revoked. But Brian, when I was talking to JJ, through the interview, he says that there are great resources like himself, immigration attorneys, but there's also special offices on campuses for these international offices. He would suggest that students that may be nervous about this or maybe seeing headlines, go check in with someone, make sure you're all up to date. There's a long list of things visa students need to be doing, and even a small minor thing could result in their visa being taken.
And I think the biggest point, as he said, is kind of keep your head down, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Joe. On the opposite of that, standing up for what you believe in seems to be gathering some steam lately, from 6th grade teachers to city mayors. Days after deciding Boise was going to keep its current city flag, Mayor Lauren McLean is taking another stand on a standard. For years, there's been a pride flag flying outside Boise City Hall, something that seemed to be kind of a thorn in the side of many lawmakers working inside the State House just 2 blocks away, at least to those who live outside of Boise. So this past legislative session, they decided to do something about it. They passed a flag ban, not just for what can be flown at schools, but any and all Idaho public buildings and property. But for Boise, well, their attitude and their approach so far is, that's nice. The bill to limit what flags can be flown on government property began back in February.
I believe this bill is necessary for government to be neutral and unified. Government buildings should represent all Idahoans and not be used for political or social movements.
House Bill 96 was supposed to stop any state, county, city, or school from flying any flag not listed here, from the U.S. flag to the state flag to the official school flag.
And without clear guidance, some government entities may display flags that promote specific causes or ideologies or political viewpoints. This bill will prevent that.
Yet it hasn't, and that hasn't gone unnoticed. Even Representative Heather Scott, the sponsor of House Bill 96, pointed out the law went into effect immediately with the governor's signature, saying someone may want to let the city of Boise know. Well, several have, and that didn't seem to matter. According to the mayor's office, that pride flag outside City Hall will continue to fly. Maybe because the law's guidance may be clear, but the enforcement of it is not. No part of the law lays out what happens if a city doesn't follow it. And we asked the governor's office, the attorney general's office, the Ada County Sheriff, and Boise PD. Nobody had an answer, but Representative Scott had one. In a text message, she told us most government employees shouldn't be actively breaking the law, even if they don't agree with it, especially elected officials. As for who is supposed to enforce it, she said they should self-enforce. We can always look at adding a penalty for bad actors if we need to. At least for now, it seems Boise is sticking by their standards. Well, during debate of that bill, it was mentioned how it was oddly focused on just one Idaho city because the only examples they showed of someone flying a flag not on that list were pictures of pride flags flown in Boise. But we were surprised to find, after reviewing all the committee hearings and chamber debates, nobody seemed to mention the bill's lack of enforcement. And to clarify what I said about nobody having an answer about that enforcement, the governor's office referred us to either the Ada County Sheriff's Office or Boise PD, and ACSO told us today this is the first they're hearing of this law, but since City Hall is on Boise City property, enforcement is up to Boise Police, and we have yet to hear back from BPD, nor have we heard back from the Attorney General's office. So no enforcement mechanism in the law, but it did have an emergency clause, meaning it went into effect with Governor Little's signature instead of the usual July 1st effective date. You may be wondering why that is. Could it have anything to do with the fact Pride Month happens in June? Maybe. Oh, by the way, the city of Bonners Ferry is considered a border town, and this was brought up during debate. For years, they have flown a Canadian flag outside City Hall to welcome our neighbors from the north when they visit Idaho. Well, we called today, and that flag still flies outside Bonners Ferry City Hall. Official flags of other countries are allowed under this law, but as the law says, that's only to commemorate special occasions. So I wonder what's so special about a flag flying 24/7. Has anybody called for the removal of that flag? I guess we'll just have to wait and see with that one. After years of failed school bonds in Middleton, the district is turning to voters once again, calling the bonds crucial to addressing overcrowding issues. Back in 2018, they ran a bond 3 times for a new elementary school, and each time the bond was for around $30 million, and each time it failed. Then again in 2022, when Superintendent Mark Gee first started, but this time that bond asked voters for a $59.4 million bond. And the money would bring a new elementary school, a new career technical education center, and also do some repair projects. That one failed as well. But this year, the school board asked the superintendent to get the bond under $20 million. So now a $19.9 million bond would put the cost to taxpayers at $34 per $100,000 of property value. Aspen Shumpert has more on how the overcrowding is affecting students and teachers.
You got hundreds of students that are not in a permanent classroom within our district. We felt like we needed to take some action on that.
Explosive growth has taken over Canyon County the last several years.
Our school district boundaries have The city of Middleton, they have parts of Caldwell, they have parts of Starr, they have unincorporated parts of Canyon County, and all of those places have communities or subdivisions that are starting to build up.
Causing Middleton schools to burst at the seams.
We have Heights Elementary School that's at 145% of capacity. Mill Creek Elementary, 114% of capacity. We have 3 total elementaries. If we split all the students up evenly across all of those elementary schools, we'd be at 106%.
Last year, the city of Middleton passed an ordinance to not approve new residential developments that push schools beyond 110% capacity.
Schools are infrastructure. They're a constitutional right under Article 9 of the Idaho State Constitution. And if nobody else is going to protect them or help them in any way, then I'll do what I can.
City Council member David Murray says although applications for residential developments have slowed down, it doesn't account for unincorporated Canyon County and surrounding cities.
So we are standing alone right now, but I hope that one day other cities will join us, and hopefully eventually the entire state can be protected or protect their schools through this ordinance or something similar.
Superintendent Mark Gee says the school district is turning to voters for help, asking for a $19.9 million bond to help build a new elementary school.
22 classrooms of students are attending in portable classrooms between those 2 elementary schools that are over capacity.
Portable classrooms have been the district's temporary solution.
We could keep adding portables, but that doesn't take into account common spaces. So lunchrooms, gymnasiums, libraries, bathrooms. Only one of those portables has a bathroom. All the rest of them have to leave the portable outside, go outside to go inside and use the restroom.
And Gee says they are not meant to be a permanent fix.
When we build buildings, we try to build them to last, 70, 80, 90 years, not, the 20 to 25 that you might get out of a portable classroom.
Mill Creek Elementary School, which is 114% over capacity, has 12 portable classrooms.
They're making the best of what they do. So they're going to do everything they can to make it an environment that those kids don't feel a difference.
Lena Butler has been teaching at the school for 13 years. She was moved out into a portable.
And we haul everything in and out. And so it's just a lot more work. Our students lose 7 minutes a day of instructional time. We've calculated it, how long it takes us to walk into the building to get everywhere that we need to get to.
She says being removed from the main school building also takes an emotional toll on both staff and students.
They're out here as 4th and 5th graders. They're not able to be leaders in the building for the younger students to see them. They'll say, I wish we were closer. I wish I could see my sister. But we just have to celebrate when they see them at recess when we walk by.
Superintendent Gee says if the bond doesn't pass, the district is facing adding more portables where they can or changing district boundary lines.
Another thing that we might have to think about is different schedules. Year-round schedules, track schedules, AB day schedules, where we have essentially turned the school into 2 schools.
The bond will need a 66 2/3 supermajority to pass. We'll see if voters have more of an appetite for it this time around. We'll also have renderings and more information about the bond on our website at ktvb.com.
It is interesting, the legislators saying that this was a very successful session when it comes to education, and they're trying to take some of that back, of that responsibility on property owners to pay for education. Doesn't seem to be helping Middleton, though.
Not.
All right, thank you very much, Aspen. State Broncos are moving, well, just to the other side of the field, the football team, that is. Hunter Funk tells us why and more in today's 411.
Alex being at Lori's house that morning felt like something was really off.
A big moment today in Lori Vallow Daybell's conspiracy to murder trial in Arizona. Lori's brother, Adam Cox, told the court he has no doubt in his mind that Lori and their other brother, Alex, killed Charles. Remember, you can watch the entire trial every day on KTVB Plus. All you need to do is download KTVB Plus on your smart TV and watch for free. The Boise School District says Boise police arrested Tyler Cordial yesterday for sexual abuse of a minor under 16 after police in Newport Beach, California, contacted them about an investigation into a man posing as a 16-year-old. Police say he worked as a substitute teacher and assistant baseball coach at East Junior High and Les Bois Junior High last year, and he was a sub at West Ada Schools as recently as Tuesday. Police say he requested, paid for, and received photos and videos from 2 girls under 18. Call Boise Police with any information. Well, heads up, Bronco fans, things will look a little different this season. Boise State says the football team is switching to the west sideline to prepare for the new north end zone project. This is because the player entrance will be closer to the west sideline. The students, you're staying on the east side. The new north end zone should be done by the 2026 season. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Hunter Funk.
Well, we've been trying to get to this story all week, but stuff has just kept coming up. And over the weekend, we received an email from a concerned citizen who wanted to remain anonymous. And he wrote, "My wife and I were out on Saturday. They were out on Saturday afternoon on the Greenbelt and saw 2 different motorized boats on the Boise River. First, we thought they might be sheriff, but no, somehow private citizens. We are fierce protectors of the river," they said. "Fly fishing, floating, participating in cleanups, etc." The river is sacred, they went on, and they continued to write. They turned the boat IDs over to the Ada County Sheriff's Office in hopes the boaters would get a citation maybe, or at least a stern talking to. Motorboating on the river, not cool, they wrote. Not cool, maybe, but I hate to break it to you, it's also not illegal, at least not on that part of the river. The city of Boise does have an ordinance preventing any motorized watercraft from below Lucky Peak Dam to the Boise city limits. And that rule doesn't apply to Ada County Sheriff's boats or those that belong to local fire departments for river rescue incidents, or it doesn't apply to Fish and Game either. Nor does it apply to any place downriver of Boise. After a few phone calls to cities and the Ada County Sheriff's Office, we learned there are no such rules in Garden City, in Eagle, or in Star, basically the rest of the river in Ada County. And it's kind of a tricky issue anyway, because if you want to outlaw it, well, that's got to go through a million things to do it. Because while the river does run through these cities, there's a lot of overlap of who sets the guidelines and enforces them. The state of Idaho, they control the riverbed. They're in charge of the river. They own it. Ada County is in charge of what happens on the water during float season, while Boise Parks and Rec, well, they're in charge of the riverbank, like the Greenbelt, that kind of stuff. So bottom line, motorized boats on the Boise River, not allowed in Boise, but beyond that, well, whatever floats your boat.
What a day we have been enjoying out there. Speaking of the Boise River, which, by the way, all area rivers flowing swift and cold right now. So even though it is 80 degrees in Boise, you are urged to enjoy the water from the bank and not get into the water. It is running very high right now, but still look at this summer-like day. We've been up to 81 in the City of Trees. The record for today is 82. Same number for Mountain Home and Twin Falls. So at this moment, Mountain Home and Twin have both tied the record high for April 10th of 82 degrees. Nampa sitting at 82. Stanley just 5 degrees shy of a record high at 60. Haley at 70 right now. When we talk about accelerated snow melt in the mountains, this is why. Now, granted, these temperatures only last for one day, but still, we are entering that time of year where that snow starts melting as temperatures trend warmer and our rivers, creeks, and streams run very high and very, very fast. So maybe dinner on the patio, good idea for today. We'll hover around 80 degrees until 7 o'clock. Slowly slide into the 70s, and it takes until 10 o'clock to even hit the 60s. So even if you're headed out after sunset tonight, it is going to be a very warm, summer-like spring day. That courtesy of the strong ridge of high pressure, which has been amplifying northward for the last couple of days. So this is by far the warmest day, helped by those breezy southeasterly winds we've had in play. Remember, air flows at the surface from high pressure to low pressure. So we have low pressure off to the west, high pressure now to the southeast. And so that's what's created those breezy southerly winds today. There is a cold front, though, that will start making its approach during the day tomorrow. It will send clouds our way first. We have a dry day for the most part tomorrow. Still warm, but 10 degrees cooler than today. Late tomorrow night, maybe 10 to 11 o'clock, we start seeing some rain move through, mostly north of Boise, lower Treasure Valley. Some heavy rain possible around McCall. Snow levels, because of our warm temperatures, stay very high with this system. Maybe a couple of inches by Saturday morning. Best chance for a spot shower in Boise looks to be before sunrise Saturday, and then we'll start seeing the clouds clear out and the sunshine emerges for the weekend, but wind and much cooler temperatures, highs of just 60 Saturday, Sunday, but much warmer next week.
We got a couple of comments today about the Middleton school bond. A couple of them are about the same. This one from Denise and another one from Shelley. Isn't there an impact fee attached to new developments? Why are the school expansion costs not collected there? That's from Denise. Meanwhile, Shelley asked the same question. Why aren't there sufficient impact fees on the new communities being built to help fund schools? Well, Idaho is one of the few states that does not allow impact fees to go to schools. Impact fees, they can charge them, but they go to infrastructure, things like emergency services, sewer, all that kind of stuff. And they're paid for by the developers, not the homeowners. But Idaho does not allow that to go towards schools. So there you go. Until they change the law, that's the way it's going to be. State legislature needs to let Boise be Boise. That's from 47-year resident of Boise, Vicky. Meanwhile, the pride flag on Boise City property, paid for by Boise taxpayers. It's not state property. Legislature should not be able to dictate the property they do not pay for or control. The issue should be City Council or Boise. That's from a Boise voter. But here's the thing. They said that. Local control was brought up a lot. Still, it passed by a lot in both chambers. So they can make the laws.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.